An interesting part of Happy Tree Friends' history is the fact that, due to it being one of the earliest web shows to amass a large audience before YouTube even existed, in many ways, it was treated like it was just a normal TV show. It got tons of retail merch, lots of TV airings, and its own TV-exclusive season, and the topic of this video, DVD releases. Now, there are a lot of DVDs for this show, way more than you may think, and it would take a long time to discuss all of them, so I'm only going to be talking about one particular release. But before we get there, let's look at the DVDs in a broader sense, so we can see what these were generally like. Throughout the 2000s, 4 DVDs were released compiling the episodes before the TV series, with 4 more being made for the TV series. Each DVD had bonus features like storyboards, commentaries, comics, and other things like interviews, Lumpy being grilled alive, a mockumentary, that sort of stuff. Each volume had its own theme and had stylish menus to match, making these DVDs a fun and novel way to watch the show, even today when you can just watch them online for free. These DVDs sold quite well and are very beloved because they've done a lot for showing how the show was produced, as seen through the bonuses. Though once the TV series ended, the show drastically started to fall in terms of budget. The episodes got shorter, the crew got smaller, and the merch output slowed to a crawl. This includes the DVDs, as there wasn't an official release since TV Volume 4, which released in 2007. For 6 years, despite many episodes being made, enough to warrant a new DVD, one just never happened. Or at least it seemed that way until, on November 1st, 2013, Mondo Media posted a blog update announcing what would be the last major DVD ever released. And it's this DVD that I'm going to be focusing on, Happy Tree Friends Complete Disaster. So what is this set? Well, as the blog post shows, it's a 4-disc set that contains the full TV season and 75 of the internet shorts. 24 of those shorts have never been released on DVD before, so it has both old and new content. This sounded very appealing to fans. Over 100 episodes in one set, which previously you had to buy separately across many different releases, many of which are no longer being made. By all means, this should be a slam dunk, but somehow, Mondo found a way, or more accurately, many ways, to sour this really good idea. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's look at this set in a little bit more depth. Let's start by looking at the first thing you see when you look at the box, being, of course, the box. I actually really like this art. It's dynamic, it's charming, and it has every main character. Well, except for Petunia and Splendid for whatever reason. I can kind of understand Petunia, as the image is already very crowded as it is, but Splendid can fly. He could have been anywhere on this cover if you zoomed it out a bit, so I'm not really seeing the logic here. Heck, even Truffles, the Easter egg character, made it onto the cover, but these 2 main characters couldn't? That's kinda weird. I don't know why they didn't just use this concept art for the cover that has all the characters, minus Truffles, but hey, I think I'd rather have these 2 main characters as opposed to this one Easter egg character. Another thing about the box is that it came with a slipcover, but the slipcover is the exact same as the case art, just with a little graphic on it. This is a very weird step down from the TV series, which had slipcovers with unique art, which gave them an actual purpose. This thing is just a waste of paper, like why even print it if it's not going to be different? That's all weird, but overall I still do like this cover. This can also show us the theme of the DVD, which is an amusement park. Now, the show has used amusement parks many times, so you'd think it would be a good theme for a DVD. And you'd be right, because they already did it. Yeah, TV Volume 1 had this theme 7 years prior, so why not make a new theme? It's not like this has anything to suggest this is a complete set or a collection of any kind, so what's the connection here? This set is almost entirely old content anyways, why not make that as obvious as possible through the artwork? Why not set it in a museum for Happy Tree Friends history, really show how far the show has come and celebrate its legacy? Regardless, the art on the front and the inside is great, it's just that the theme isn't as original as it could be. Okay, with the box out of the way, we can finally talk about what really matters here, the actual discs. For reference, the other DVDs had these fancy custom menus that were often animated, so surely a set much more modern than those will have menus that are at least just as good, if not better. So let's put in disc 1 and see what we have. Oh. Yeah, these menus are completely static, with very plain images of various characters. I do like that each disc has a different character, and these menus aren't horrendous or anything, but they just lack the pizzazz and style that the older releases had. I get wanting to be clean and easy to understand, but I feel like you can definitely have both flashiness and function at the same time. Again, this isn't bad, It's just kinda boring, and it brings the theme back into question. Why are you going to do the same theme again when you already did this theme better years ago? Now you may be thinking that the menus don't really matter, and it's the episodes that count. And while I do agree with that to an extent, this argument doesn't work as well for this show as it would for other shows. For an average TV show, buying a DVD makes sense for the sake of watching the episodes, as otherwise you'd need to catch reruns to watch an episode again. Not counting streaming, but that's a whole separate discussion. This doesn't really apply to Happy Tree Friends, because, as I said, all the episodes are and have been free to watch online, even back when this DVD released. So in this case, you really want to make sure that the DVD provides enough novelty in its presentation to justify spending money on something that is otherwise free. The other DVDs were good at this, providing a way of watching the episodes that felt unique, like something you couldn't get from just searching a YouTube playlist. This list of episodes is basically the same thing, just with the lag of a DVD player. And in one way, it's actually far worse, even when compared to older sets. Okay, before I explain why the DVD struggles with convenience, we need to review some key context about how the TV season in particular was released. So back in 2006, Happy Tree Friends was picked up for one season of 13 22-minute episodes. Happy Tree Friends has always been a short-form show, so it wouldn't really work across 20 minutes. So the decision was made to split those 22 minutes into 3 7-minute segments, with the extra minute being dedicated to the theme song and the credits. Now let's look at the DVD sets for the TV season. It plays the title theme, all the episodes in a row, one after another, and then the credits after they've all played. This is an elegant and simple way to not make people rewatch the theme song over and over or wait through the credits in between episodes. The TV season has never been released in this format online, so binging it on DVD has a legitimate advantage over watching YouTube uploads. Instead of watching the theme song and the credits 13 times, you can watch it only 4 times, which is much more reasonable. So what does Complete Disaster do? Well, the TV series is included in the full 22-minute chunks with the theme song and credits intact. Because of this, you can't just select individual segments. You have to select the set of 3 that segment is in. For example, if there's an episode that you want to watch that's at the end of one of these sets, you have to click into the set and then skip the first 2 episodes, which is just really weird design. And I just ask, why? Why make the user experience less convenient when you literally figured this out 6 years prior for the TV volumes? I get that the TV volumes came on 4 discs and this uses 2, so you couldn't just port them over directly, but then why couldn't you just re-edit the transitions and credits for both discs? Japanese releases of the TV season were able to do this with only 2 discs, so it's clearly something they could have done. The actual episodes don't even need to be touched, it's just the stuff in between the episodes, so I see no real reason they couldn't do it besides laziness or a severe lack of budget and/or time. If you want people to pay for something they could have got for free, then you need to make the paid version at least just as good as the free version, if not better. This is much worse on DVD, because the skipping function on many DVDs is a bit laggy and not as comfortable as it would be on YouTube. Something that's a minor annoyance on the web is a much more annoying choice on DVD, where lag is expected. You could say this is for authenticity's sake, and I do kind of agree with that, but I'd say it's leaning more towards rushed development, as in the end, it makes the user experience worse. So yeah, the TV season is formatted weird, whatever, boo-hoo. But the internet episodes are here, and they're just fine, right? Well, besides something I'll get to later, yes? The internet episodes have no noticeable downsides here in terms of convenience. In fact, many of the new episodes never before seen on DVD are actually better here, as they have 5.1 audio, which, while not completely necessary, is a very nice feature to have, and hey, it lets us rip the music and voices from these episodes, so I can't complain, aside from the episodes being in 720p as opposed to 1080p, but it's not really a big deal. So yeah, it's nice having these new episodes. However, it's seemingly at the expense of older episodes. You know, for a set that's titled Complete Disaster, you'd expect it to be, you know, complete. But this set is objectively not complete. 3 episodes are missing, even though they were available on older sets, which is super weird. On top of that, there aren't any irregular episodes, meaning that there's no false alarm, no ski patrol, no kapow, no smoochies, no blurbs, nothing. If it's not a main episode, it's not here. I get not including things like YouTube Copyright School or the Fall Out Boy video, as rights to those can be weird. But why can't they include content that they already have the copyright for? Not to mention that several episodes that are here are sometimes placed in the wrong order. Not that it really matters, but it is worth mentioning. Okay, so the menus are decent, if a bit bland, and the episode selection is good, if a bit lacking, but there's still one area where the set can redeem itself, and that's something old DVDs did very well. That being bonus features. The bonuses on older DVDs were great. Not only was this how many fan-favorite episodes like Ski Patrol and Ice Cold Lemonade were first released, but there's all sorts of other hidden gems on these DVDs that people don't bring up much. There's creator interviews, a goofy mockumentary, old sketches and concept art, storyboards, and my favorite, the commentary tracks. These are not only insightful and interesting, but they're also just plain funny. The crew has a lot of on-screen charisma, and it's fun to see them so proud of their work. So, let's see what bonuses you get with Complete Disaster. Oh. That's not good. Yeah, this set has absolutely no bonus content. No storyboards, no commentaries, nothing. Outside of the aforementioned 5.1 audio on the new episodes, this set has nothing new, and even then, I'll bet a lot of you don't even know what 5.1 audio means, and I don't blame you for that. It's not like it's an advertised feature or anything. However, there is one key feature of this set that was advertised that I haven't talked much about, and it's something that sounds cool on paper, but overall makes this set one of the weakest official ways to watch all but a few of the episodes included. I'm talking about the HD remasters. These are an interesting piece of history about the show, and there are people who love these remasters, and others not so much. So what's the deal with these? Well, they're in HD with noticeably sharper colors and picture quality. This part is great, as obviously, being higher quality is a good thing. The fact this set is a DVD and not a Blu-ray does make the quality not quite as good as it could be, but it's still decently noticeable. However, there's another piece to these remasters where most of the discourse is, and that's the fact that the episodes are in widescreen. This sounds good on paper, but in execution it can be hit or miss. You see, all the episodes of the show up until Wrath of Khan were produced in standard definition, or 4:3. This is how they were storyboarded, this is how they were animated, and this is how the episodes were intended to be watched. To make these episodes work in widescreen, many of the internet episodes were re-exported to actually widen the frame, and this can lead to varying results. To show these varying results, let's take a random episode and then compare the widescreen with the original 4:3. Here's the original, and then here's the remaster. Some shots, like this, look perfectly fine, but others aren't the same. Here's another shot, and here's the remaster. See what I mean when I say these can be hit or miss? These episodes weren't meant to have this much room, and now we have a large portion of the frame just completely empty, which brings the purpose of these remasters into question. What's the benefit here? At best, the widescreen amounts to, you can see more of the background, and we moved some things to fill that background. But it almost never provides any real improvement besides the occasional fixing of an animation error. If you ask me, the widescreen is at best kinda neat, and at worst a noticeable hindrance. This could have been amended by allowing you to switch between the new and old versions on the DVD, but sadly no such feature exists. If you want them in 4:3, you gotta watch them online or buy the older DVDs. While they aren't for everybody, many people do like these remasters, and I can understand that. Whether or not they're your thing is up to personal preference. However, what they did to the TV episodes, I feel is not as commonly enjoyed. And that's a real problem, considering that the TV episodes are often considered the best ones, and the ones that most people are going to want to watch. The TV episodes are far longer than the internet episodes, so there was going to be a lot more work to be done if they wanted to remaster them fully. So instead of doing all that work, they took the easy way out and zoomed in the camera to make the episodes widescreen. The episodes are unchanged otherwise, so this means that the remasters cut off a pretty sizable chunk of the frame for no real good reason, and once you notice it, you can really never stop noticing it. Zooming in the camera like this makes the shots feel a lot more cramped and unnatural compared to the originals, as they were made with the aspect ratio in mind. It's not something that ruins the show or anything, but it compromises the artistic vision of the creators and provides no discernible benefit to anyone. This isn't a problem with some of the new episodes in the set, as they were actually made in widescreen, and the 5.1 audio makes the DVD a great way to watch those episodes. But come on, having only some of your massive set be fully left intact isn't a good sign. So yeah, this set has a lot going against it. I tried to be as fair and honest as I could in this video, but of course, I am biased, and I think you can tell I have some issues with this set. So I want to address a likely argument for why this set, despite its flaws, would be worth getting, and that is the convenience. Having all the episodes in one set instead of having to buy 8 out-of-print sets is very appealing, and for the $20 price this was released at, it sounds like the far cheaper and quicker option. I totally agree with this. Let's go to eBay and grab a copy. I didn't know convenience was spelled that way. Yeah, they didn't make many copies of this set, and it only released in North America for a limited time, so it's far more expensive than any of the other DVDs, making this would-be affordable option nothing of the sort. Also, because it was only released in North America, it's region encoded, so foreign DVD players can't run it. So that's great. So, in the end, this set is not really worth seeking out unless you're a very devoted collector. I'd personally really recommend the other sets, and in some ways I'd consider them to be the best official way to watch the show. In the end, value is subjective, and I could see somebody not caring about the things I brought up and liking the DVD anyways, and I can respect that. Not how I would recommend you would watch them, but I'm not you. I don't know what you value. Watch the show how you like, I'm in no position to judge. However, for most people, yeah, go for one of the older sets. They're far cheaper, and generally will give you more value and novelty. And if you can't afford to buy old, out-of-print DVDs that don't support Mondo financially, well, I'm not gonna suggest anything, but I think you can figure it out. And there you go, a video about Complete Disaster. I wanted to get something shorter out while I work on the highly requested video about the show's storyboards, because that video is looking to be nearly an hour long, and I may end up having to split it into 2 parts so you don't have to wait too long for it. As for other end-of-video stuff, I have channel memberships now. I don't expect too many people to join, and I don't want to lock too much behind it, but if you want to support me while getting your name in the credits, as well as some other stuff like previews of upcoming videos and some emotes to use in the chat, that is something that's there for you. Just keep in mind that watching my videos and subscribing is more than enough support, and I don't want to ever seem like I'm begging for money. I also have a second channel that I'll be using for weird, small findings and uncommented videos, stuff that doesn't really belong here. If you're interested in Happy Tree Friends media that's really weird and obscure, maybe go check it out. There's some stuff already on there. And with all that said, see you next time.